Hi, I'm Vice Mayor Linda Bartz, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Helping Hands. Today, my guest is Vern Melvin from what I call GAL, but is actually Guardian at Litem. Hi, Vern.
Morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing very well. Thank you for inviting me to your program.
My pleasure, because when it gets right down to it, it's all about kids, and that's the important thing.
It is.
Talk to me a little bit about what Guardian at Litem is, and what they do, and really, I know we talked a little bit in their state agency, but what area do you really cover?
Okay. The Guardian at Litem program is a state agency that is really a unique public-private partnership. It's a state agency, so it's a public agency. The private part of it, so to speak, is that we essentially operate with volunteers from the community. For example, I have about 25 paid staff, but about 320 volunteers from the four-county area. And in response to your question about what the territory is, it is, in fact, the Treasure Coast and Okeechobee, Martin, St. Lucie, Indian River, and Okeechobee counties. We serve the abused, abandoned, or neglected children who are in the court system because they've been removed from their homes. And so our mission is to represent those children, to advocate for those children, to represent their best interest, and ultimately to be the voice for those children. The state of Florida has a voice through legal representation in the courtroom. The Department of Children and Families does through Devereaux Community-Based Care. And so we're in the unique position and a unique role of representing the best interest of the child, strictly the child.
So your volunteer, the Guardian at Litem, actually goes to court with the child, and I would say probably in a lot of cases, if the child is young, speaks for the child.
Correct. Correct.
Many times that must go hand in hand with DCF. I would think that also works for the best interest of the child. It
does, and well, DCF's role is a little bit larger than ours. While we represent only the child, or the best interest of only the child, DCF is charged with representing and trying to turn around the entire family. Now we're going to work to do that also, okay? But ultimately, it's what's going to be in the best interest of that child. We work very closely, we coordinate, communicate, collaborate with DCF and other community partners to try to achieve the best outcome for these children, and the families also. Because once a child enters the system, the primary goal of the system is, the child welfare system, is permanency. In other words, trying to help the family improve its situation so the children can be reunited with the family. That would always be the best possible outcome. But if that's not going to happen, and it may be because of severe substance abuse, mental illness, or there may be some other reasons that families just will never be, or parents or guardians will never be able to take care of their children, then we look at other avenues of permanency, possibly adoption even. But permanency, within a reasonable amount of time, is what the goal of the system is, and what we try to achieve also. So you have 300 volunteers. That sounds like a lot of volunteers. It does. It does sound like a lot of volunteers. I got a feeling it's not enough. No, you're absolutely right. We have almost 1,200 children in the child welfare system on any given day in this four-county area. Here in St. Lucie County, it's about 600 children. We have enough volunteers to provide representation for almost 400 of those children. So we still have about 200 children who are in the system who don't have that voice, who don't have that advocate who represents only them. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. No. How does someone become a guardian ad litem? Well, first of all, you don't have to have any special training. You don't have to, have a master's in social work or anything like that. What you have to be is a concerned citizen. 19 years of older or older. If you're 19 to 21, you actually work with a mentor, an older individual. But 20, 21 and above, you know, you have to be a citizen in good standing in the community. I mean, we do background checks as you would for teachers or anybody else. But just be a caring, concerned person. I mean, that ultimately that's what we're looking for. We provide the training. We provide we provide a veteran guardian as a mentor who will be assigned to you from the time you're accepted into the program, and so you know there's a lot of support, there's a lot of guidance, and you know you'll be prepared whenever you receive your first case.
Why do people sign up?
Why do they sign up? Let me give you some examples. It's a good question. Shirley says, I do it because somebody has to. Bernie says, I volunteer for the personal satisfaction it gives me to make a difference. Perry, another citizen in the community, said, because children need people in their community, in their corner, that have no agenda but the child's welfare. Sandy said, I volunteer because I love children and it hurts me to see them hurt and I want to help. Barb says, because I can. Many cannot, we all should. Denny said, I served my country for more than 20 years during my naval career. I'm happy to serve my community as well, especially since I grew up here and it's home again. Ron said, beginning from childhood, we're all bruised. If I can leave a spot of light in a child's memory, it's all worthwhile. And then the one that really got me was Ed said, feeling unloved is worse than monsters under the bed. They need somebody to care for them, to nurture them, to be there for them, to represent them, to advocate for them, to be their voice. And so, you know, make sure there are no monsters under that bed.
They're our future. They're our future.
Exactly.
And if we don't take the time to give whatever we can,
exactly,
then we're part of the problem.
We are.
We're not a part of the solution.
Right.
So, but I have another question. So, if you work full time, can you do this as well? Are there ways that you can still?
That's a good question. You can. It's probably not surprising that most of our volunteers are retirees,
sure,
okay, or working part-time, that sort of thing. But we do have citizens who we have citizens who are teachers and that sort of thing, you know, who work. Yes, the expectation is that you will visit the child once a month. Okay, at least every 30 days. That has to be done, but that could be done in the evening. That could be done on the weekend. That you be available to go to court, but that's either once every 3 months or 6 months. Okay. So maybe you could take a few hours off from your work that day to do that. What we ask as far as a commitment of time is anywhere from 12 to 14 hours a month. Okay, 2 or 3 hours a week maybe. Okay. You know, it's interesting. We ask our volunteers to advocate for 2 to 3 children on average. That would be their caseload, quote unquote. Okay. We had a volunteer recognition ceremony last week, and we gave out what we call the Brady Bunch Award. All right, it's one we came up with. Okay, and the lady who won that award advocates for 17 kids.
All at once?
At once.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, how she does that, you know, she's just very dedicated. She's retired, very committed, a lot of juggling going on. That would be, I wouldn't want anybody to come in thinking, oh my God, I could never do that. I couldn't either, I don't think. But 2 to 3 children. And the reason we think we really make a difference is, you know, as you said, we work with DCF or Devereaux, the community-based care organization. Their counselors or case managers have anywhere from 20 to 25 to 30 children on their caseload on any given day. And so they do the best they can, but they're spread very thin. And there's a lot of paperwork in state government. I was there in DCF.
I know. You were there and retired from there.
I was. And so they had those large caseloads. Our volunteers will have 2 to 3 children.
So a child is referred to you typically from the court or from DCF?
Correct.
Is that how you get a child?
Well, actually through the court system.
Through the court system.
Right.
So then you make the determination, or does the volunteer have any say in the child's case or the child that they're advocating for?
Sure. We try to match the volunteer with it. For example, some volunteers prefer to work with younger children, you know, the small ones. Some prefer to work with teenagers. They're just more comfortable, you know, in that age range. And so, yes, we do. I mean, it's your choice in the end as a volunteer to say yes or no, you know, to any particular case.
Oh, I think that's a big part of it.
That's
a big part coming in.
Yeah, the case managers who have 20, 25, or 30 don't get that option, you know. I mean, they have to represent that caseload.
Yes. So. Oh, absolutely. And I know they are spread extremely
And I can tell you
thin.
for the. And you just mentioned that I came out of retirement after almost a 38-year career in child welfare, and I have. I knew I would be impressed with the number of volunteers and their dedication and commitment, but it's exceeded even my expectations. We have a lot of caring citizens out there in our community, and we're blessed to have that. We just need a few more.
You know, Vern, I think that with the word out and people knowing about it, those people will step up. But I've always said this about our community: when there is a need, people volunteer here. They are in their. They're invested with their community, with what they can do with the children, and we've all, over the years, have really put that focus on our kids, whether it's in education, whether it's through Deborah, whether it's through Guardian ad Litem, but the idea is that those are our future.
Correct.
You know, and I've always been, I want them to go and come back here and stay here. So
that's why it's helping hands, right? Yeah.
We try. We try really hard.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting your message out. Hopefully, you will get some calls for volunteers. You'll have to let me know.
Of course, I'll keep in touch with you.
Well, it's been a joy, and of course we'll be meeting together at Round Table of St. Lucie and many of the organizations that we're involved with together.
Sure.
But it's been great to have you here.
Thank you.
I hope to, you know, I know you said you'll let me know how this goes.
I will.
But we'll work together again, I know.
I appreciate it.
So thank you again, Vern. And we'll be right back after this message.